Good morning, everybody. So today I wanted to talk to you about the narcissist and their fantasy, or we also call it like a fairy tale. So how did you get caught up with the narcissist? There was something different about them. There is intrigue there because you've met a lot of people in life like humanity, like yourself. Maybe not exactly like you, but they were somebody you could relate to, rationalize, or understand. But when it came to the narcissist, they hold their cards very tight. Meaning they don't tell you anything about their past, their present, their future. And if they do, it's so chopped up, you can never puzzle piece them together to come out with a linear story. And that's done on purpose because they're always trying to knock your energy off kilter so that they can control you. They give you little pieces, and all these little pieces, because all these pieces are just pieces that they heard or stole or watched in a movie about little clips and snippets of either friends, family, people they destroyed. They may be little pieces of them as well, but they're going to be so intertwined and jacked up with everybody else's other pieces. They're a 1,000-piece puzzle, but there's nothing in there that's them. Because even when they were going through life, so check this out, they go through life and they're continually trying to falsify everything by putting on a mask. They falsify themselves and everything about them by putting on the mask. And that's so they fit in, so that they can control, manipulate for their own well-being. And so they can look like a hero, or they can look like a victim. They usually play victimhood because victimhood is the best position for a manipulator because you don't have to do too much, so it doesn't burn off a lot of energy. The person that they meet is going to feel like they're a complete non-threat. There's not one bit of threat in them because they look at the victim as they could relate to it, but because a lot of times they'll pick somebody that's come out of victimhood, but they still have childhood wounds that the narcissist can see, but maybe the individual can't. When it comes to the narcissist, you can't really cover those up. They're always protecting their wounds. That's what their whole life is around, protecting their childhood wounds. They are frozen in this childhood mode. Everything in the narcissist's life is fake. And I don't even think they really remember it a whole lot. Because when you're faking all the time, it's kind of like if you were to lie and then down the road, you have to remember the lie you told that person or the truth you told this person of the same day and time. And after a while, that's going to get very difficult. You can't remember lies like you can your reality and the things that you did and do on a daily basis. The narcissist is just making up stories as they go along, a lot of times off the cuff. Because it's like they've done this so many times, they have so many of these stories that are already pre-made up. And they can twist them a little and turn them a little to fit your narrative and mirror back to you yourself. Whatever it takes, you just clip a little here and you add a little there to the story. And what story worked for the guy down the street, this girl's going to come to you and she's going to do the same thing to you. And she's going to add or take away a little bit. That's why you always find like the narcissist loves to lie by omission. And it's very similar. Their stories are all omitting and adding to. The whole thing is somebody else's story that they heard and they liked it. They saw how that person expressed that time that they went through it. And it really had an effect on them. Maybe they got hurt, maybe they got injured. So they'll take that story because that individual is showing them in an empathic way all of the feelings that they went through and how hard it was to get over it and get through it. They know that's a real good story. It's really true. And it's really believable because they just watched somebody tell it to them. Now, they don't have some of these emotions, but they have cognitive type empathy, means they know how to fake it. They know what the mannerisms would look like. They know what is an A1 actor, basically. That's how they would look at it. So if you came at them with your best empathy, right? They know what that truly looks like because it's real. And as much as they can't feel empathy, they understand when it is real. And they understand when it is not. Now, sometimes when they do get the real empathy that hits them right in the face, meaning they meet an empath because they don't really believe them out there that they really exist. Well, it may hit them with the reality of it, but they don't want to believe it. So they have to get into detail and try to find out how you fake it so well until they find out that it is real. And in their fantasy, they are preoccupied with this fantasy that they are living in their mind. They want to make everybody else believe it and then feed into it. What the narcissist likes about playing the victim is that a lot of people will take all their boundaries down much faster if they play the victim, because they feel like that the person couldn't hurt them. So they feel more comfortable knowing that this person has had bad luck their whole life, and now you're going to be their savior. And they love that, because you drop all your boundaries and you dive right in. They love bomb the hell. They just draw you in. They suck you in faster. And you don't really feel the loss of energy or being devalued because you're being love bombed. They start telling you how you were mistreated, how you're so special, how you're so unique, how you should be treated better, and they are here to perform it. So they come in as the victim. Once they get you to trust them, and once you love them, then they will test it by ghosting you or breadcrumbing you or doing intermittent reinforcement and see how you act. Give you a little hot and cold, carrot and stick. They start performing hot and cold, and that starts to get your endocrine system craving them. If it doesn't work in the beginning, then when they ghost you or breadcrumb you or do this intermittent reinforcement, if it doesn't work, let's say they pull away and just disappear and you don't contact them. You act like you don't even care. You're indifferent to it. Then they come back to you and you're indifferent to that too. Whether you told them you loved them or not, they're going to have to go back into love bomb phase and start plugging away at pumping up your ego again. They don't have love, so they don't connect with you on the emotional level, because they can't. Remember, if they cannot feel love, all of those good things are obsolete. So they have to connect you through trauma. So they have to fake the love because they don't have it. And that would be through, if they throw sex at you, you think that's love, but it's not. It's just sex. And that's why they look robotic and mechanical once you start to wake up to this, because you start to realize that they are playing you, that their actions are not meeting their words, or their words are not meeting their actions. Especially if you learned anything about narcissism and then went back and had intercourse with them, you're going to find that they're like a robot. They're not there for the love. They're there for the control and the power over you. They got to win all the time. And if it gets to a point to where you're not playing into it, then they go back to this little child and this humble little kid who is helpless. And then they're like, you're not going to leave me, are you? And then you're like, oh, heck no, I'm not going to leave you. And then right away, it's always the opposite of humanity. When you love them, they hate you all of a sudden. The day you say you love them is the day they start to want to destroy you and devalue you, because it's a hot plate. It's food. You feed them. And everything is out of lust. And getting over on people doesn't seem like it would be a lustful thing to humanity, but to a narcissist, it's huge. It's the greatest thing, and got them caught up in the adrenaline when they gave up on love. When they get validation through you, when they get hate and anger from you, that's them knowing that they're winning either way. If you give them praise, it pumps them up, pumps their ego up. And if you are angry or fear them, then it pumps them up because they are powerful. So when they rage out on you, it's because you're starting to beat them at their own game, or you're questioning them. They lie and manipulate to you, and initially you lie by pleasing them and not addressing the situations, because they get you caught up through the manipulations. That's how it's built, the construct. And the construct is built to where it's almost like you are sinning on as many levels as they are, except you're not innately bad, but the way they draw you in and spell you gets you to go against truth and justice in every which way, just like they are. Meaning, if you're lying by not telling them the truth about what's going on because you're afraid to address it because they have manipulated your life into all these rules and eggshells and stresses they put on your life, you're still lying. And everything has a price to pay, and they know that, and that's how witchcraft works. Witchcraft works like that. It works by taking innocent people, spelling them. So that's the thing. The devil can't make you sin. He just gives you options, and that's what the narcissist does. Be it they are the most manipulative, evil options in the world, but you still, once you feel like you love them, the narcissist makes you feel like if you give up everything, that you can have that love bomb phase again. And that's what road you go down after they put all these layers of manipulations on you. When they do get you hooked, finally, they'll test you again. And when you go through that hot and cold, when you start to chase them and you start to call them and like you got to prove stuff to them, and they're giving you nothing, and complete just indifference, just neglect, or a little bit of breadcrumbing just to keep you on the line. Like you might have a future with them, maybe, if you act right. And so these are ways that they bring you and drag you into this fantasy, and they get you ruminating on them. When you're ruminating on them, it's like in the spirit realm, that's where they get the most energy and fuel off you. Because your engine is pumping all the time, and it's pumping, your whole life is focused and fixated on the narcissist. That's what ruminating is. Ruminating is they have spelled you to the point to where you can't help but think about them all the time. And that's where they get that statement that I'm in your head 24/7, free rent. Meaning they don't have to do anything because they know that they have spelled you so bad that you're always thinking about them. And once you get on a rumination kick, that has got its own addiction to it. You can't get off that until you go no contact at that point. So once you start ruminating, then you're hooked. And the only way to fix that really is to go no contact. And that's because you have to be completely away from them, and you got to emotionally disconnect, and then you have to process all of what you've been dealing with, and you got to start to level off your endocrine system because you've turned into a dang crackhead for the narc. You hit the narc pipe too many times, and now you're supplying the narc with, let's say, if they're the drug dealer, they're the plug, right? So you're supplying them with the funds, with the money, and they're handing you crack rocks, because the time that short time that you could spend with them, even though you know it's not going to work out, you know that they're lying to you, makes you feel good, and you got to have it. Even if you know it's evil, if you know it's bad, it's destructive, and it's destroying you. If you were to ask a person during that time period, they're going to if they would be honest with you, they would say, I don't care. I just want the relief right now. And that's what a drug addict would say. So they take you and drag you into the fantasy. And then when you're ruminating like that, you don't have any walls up. They can come and go as they please. And you're just pouring energy out. Your fuel is all over the place. And you're a wreck. That's when the karma's hitting them. It's going straight to you because they're flipping all their energy with you. And if you operate and act that way, they know that's the case. They'll just maybe even just show up enough just to energy dump on you and an energy harvest from you. And then they'll be out of there. I mean, because there'd be no reason to have to stay if there's no love for them that they don't love. But there is something about the real, everything they do is lust. So whatever looks good, like love, is lust. I mean, you just have to break it down. What they do, like as a child, you know, they're failing a lot. These entities will tell them, you're just different. You're different. Try walking as being a different person, a person that's better than everybody else. That's where they get this grandiosity. Even the covert ones will have it. It's just inverted grandiosity. So they start to walk in this and believe it. So they kind of slant it to the narcissist. And then this is where they're getting attachment. And just lie to them. Lie to that girl over there. Tell her that you came from a rich family and you've been to all these countries. You have a Porsche home, but the engine blew on it. Whatever. And it works. Enemy gives him all the tools, all the words to say, all the ideas, puts them in his head. And then they get this adrenaline boost. It gives them a high. They have an accomplishment. Be it that it was evil and manipulative, they don't care. So then they start listening and forming this self-image that is puffed up. They have low self-esteem, so this entity will give them tools and ideas to give them this grandiose, puffed up self-esteem. And then they actually get them to walk in it. They get them to lie and manipulate, and they tell them how to do it and what to do and what to say, and give them thoughts in their head, and they do it. Tell them lies and manipulations and words to say, and they pull all these different manipulations out of their toolbox, tell them how to say it, what to say, and when to do it, and how to look, what to wear, and they do it, and it works, man. Then they get boastful. And then the next step is to not just fake it, but then to believe it, become it. And when you become it and walk in it, that's when the parasite enters. It gives them some success, but then it takes over and pushes the narcissist all the way down. And then what you're falling in love with years down the road is the demon. But they kind of intertwine. If you could imagine like a human body, right? And it has this glow all the way around its whole body, okay? Like, let's say a golden glow, an aura over the whole body from head to toe. The body may be the narcissist, but they're in control. The demon parasite is in control of this. And if you control this, you control the whole body. And then the demon kind of like cloaks himself as that aura around that body so that they can feel just like the narcissist, the lust. And that's how they get their experience. So what the fantasy is it is a wall of protection between them, the narcissist, and the world. That's why they get flying monkeys. That's why they get their family and their love partners to believe this. And this is a culmination of everybody that they stole pieces from. To where in here, there's never anything, because all they've done was lie since a child. So this is how you become nothing but a shell, because you start, see, it sounds good in the beginning, because see, they were weird. And they made the narcissist maybe was losing. You know, they had this thoughts in their head of what they should be doing, or, you know, all the other kids were doing better than them. So when they start to get depressed and thinking like, why am I different? But you got to understand, this is a test. See, I went through this type of stuff. But I went through the pain of it too. I went through the reality of it. And then I continued to go through the reality of it for decades until I started to focus more on understanding why I was getting into this kind of folly. But I didn't create a false mask. And this is what the narcissist does. So they create this mask, right? And it worked. They lied to this person that they didn't grow up in the hood, that they grew up in a mansion, that they don't have a hoopty, but they got a Porsche. The engine just, they blew the engine right now. So that, you know, that's why I'm driving the hoopty. Whatever. And, you know, their mother and father may not be, they're blue collar workers, but I'm going to tell them they work in high-end government jobs and they're very important in intelligence agencies or something, whatever. My dad's the CEO of a bank or something, who knows? But it works. And so that's great. So it worked today and you felt great for it. But it was manipulation and it was evil. And the great that you felt, that energy that you felt, was not good for you. you're better off in the reality of, I grew up in the hood and I'm driving a hoopty, you know, but one day I'm going to drive a Mercedes because I'm going to work hard. But instead, they want to pick up the mask and lie about it. And then somebody gives them the 20 grand they need for the new engine for the Porsche. And then they disappear with the 20 grand, you see? And it works. So then they put another mask on. So when you're putting a mask on every day, all the time, what is in here? Tell me, what is in here? There's nothing in here. All you are is this mask. And when all you are is this mask, when you become nothing, and then it changes everything. What a narcissist injury is when they build up this facade and they believe it. And it works. It works because everybody that they have put between them and the reality of the world believes the lie, feeds into the lie, or is a lie themselves, and they don't want to be injured because they're a narcissist too. So maybe they'll just feed each other what they want. And they don't dig in, and they become partnerships. And then they protect each other. This is where you get the wolf packs. And these are where these people are their buffers. And when they want to attack, they attack people who they can't win with. But they come to people who have traits and qualities that they want. And finances, intellect, passion, love. And they try to knock them down. And what they think they're doing is if they can knock you down and stand on top of you and make you, shame you to death and convince you that you're a piece of shit, they walk away powerful with this adrenaline. And they can control you. But what they think they're doing is, this is where they are sadistic. Regardless if they don't know what they're doing, they know they're sadistic. They know they're doing that. But what they don't know is that they're switching energy with you because there's duality. And so the narcissist sees what they're doing and they like it and they love it and they feel the adrenaline. They may not know why the energy is switching, but they know it works. And see, so the demon gets them to like and the destruction of the individual so they can get this power feeling. So it builds their ego and makes them boast even more. But the demon is switching the energy while they're building their ego. And where you hurt the narcissist is where you take pieces of this fake reality and this fake mask they're wearing, and you stab a knife right through it, a knife of truth. And that's what they suggest you don't do. Be separate, right? And to be separate from somebody like this takes a year, 2 years. You don't want to bother yourself with this because then that would be vengeance, you see? And that's where, it talks about just leave them alone, have nothing to do with them now. You see, so in the beginning, you don't want to do it because you're connected to them. You're part of the evil, or you're feeding it. And then later on, when you get over it, you will learn this, that I'm not getting vengeance. You're going to get your own, and you're living it every moment of the day because you may be spelling others. You may be cursing others. You may be blackmailing and using others, but it's all destroying and devouring your soul more and more every day, narcissist, to yourself. And you're getting more and more addicted to the evil. And when you don't know truth and you start to walk the other way, it confuses and manipulates and destroys everything in your own life. And that's why the narcissist has gotten to a point to where they're just completely controlled. They do not have control over their own entity, their own self. You can be by yourself if you want to, but the narcissist can never be by themselves, because even when they're by themselves, they don't have control over themselves. So I'm going to leave it there, but this is how parts of the fantasy work. When somebody calls them out with legit truth, a lot of times it has a domino effect. I mean, one narcissist injury leads to another and another, because you're knocking down all of the lies and the facades one by one sometimes. And they are frozen in this early childhood where they did receive some sort of trauma, but it may not have been, when you look at it as an adult, may not have been a heavy-duty traumatic thing that they went through. And like I said, you may have been through the same trauma, except you went through it in reality, they went through it in fantasy. And the enemy is fake. He's a fantasy. He's a lie. He's a manipulator. He masquerades, y'all, it says in the Bible. The enemy, Satan, masquerades as an angel of light, meaning he puts a mask on and fakes it to take you to hell, if he can. And anything like drinking, drugs, what is that? That's fake. It's a fantasy. When you drink, you get into a fantasy world for a time. You're all buzzed up. That's not reality. When you're high, you're all high. That's not a reality. What is it doing to your life? It's destroying it. And it's creating addictions. And it's opening doors. When you get into a fantasy, you're into the realm of the enemy. Because when you're in reality, you're abiding in truth. When you're in fantasy, you're abiding in lie wholeheartedly, 100%, while you're in it. And that's why you can lose yourself. So until next time, soldier up. Peace. We out.